Hey there, Ddraig here again, and we're going to look at the latest update of the SFO Grimhammer 2 Order of Mayhem. I hope to update my videos with the latest information on each mod, and if they have any major changes. With SFO, that usually happens every 3 months, roughly while when DLCs drop, with Venris and his team tweaking and adding new mechanics, and of course units. I am dealing with just the main mod, not the optional units mod, which you can also download. This only adds a few Venris units to your game. With this in mind, we're going to take a closer look at these units. There will be a separate video dealing with new campaign mechanics and changes on the actual map. This video focuses on the new units for Bretonnia and Chaos. Then we'll take a look at the DLC units from the Prophet and Warlock, and how SFO has changed it, just to give you an idea on how this mod changes your game. Okay, let's start with Bretonnia. First up, we have men-at-arms with longbows. Naturally, with increased range over the standard unit of archers, and it could increase his stats in every area, being not completely awful in melee, but at least passable. This provides more DPS to your front line over longer range, coming in at 550 points. These are well worth the extra cost of 100 over standard peasants, especially as they have at least a slight chance of dealing with some chaff compared to your standard peasant bowman unit. Next, we have a brand new archer unit, the 650 Hermites. If you're familiar with the tale of Robin Hood, this is pretty much a unit based on that lore. Longbow, with even outranges the previous longbow unit by 5, more damage, better overall stats again. They also bring Stalk, Vanguard, Shooter Move and Snipe, making them expert units of archers. Surprisingly good mobile ambush unit. Now, being that they are outlaws and of course peasants, getting above a station is just not on with the surrounding knights. They do bring a skill which makes them even more interesting. The outlaws is a debuff, bringing down the morale and removing any immune to psychology on any new bear units. For a young leadership army like Bretonnia, this is quite a debuff and means careful placement on the battlefield is a must. Treat them as ambush units and try to break off solitary units from the enemy. With good speed to keep away from the most melee infantry, they can cause quite a lot of damage. However, bring them in units of 2, hid in the forest to sneak in behind the enemy and add damage to your front line, hopefully peeling off some units. With a decent cavalry on protection duty, this gives you a lot of flexibility. Just be careful of that debuff when the battle gets stretched. A very unique unit. The next unit is a real elite with crazy stats. This is a legendary unit, so only one allowed across all your armies. The Hermit Knights, which are older Grey Knights, are coming in at 1600 points and have only 13 models. You need to make sure they are not wasting on another small unit or chaff. Getting them overwhelmed by chaff is a waste of the damage they can do. Very tough and hard hitting, with a nice 45p A damage, they are excellent elite killers. They come with a range of buffs. The blessing of the 80 gives them a 20% physical resistance, making them even tougher. Grey Vitality for regeneration, so you begin to see why they are so expensive on the battlefield. And of course they are knights, so they get the knight's duty buff, giving the stats on the show here an even more increase when the battle starts. More useful in cav, but a good buff for this unit nevertheless. Finally, Virtuous Resolve, giving units around them a bit more buff as they charge into a fight. Putting this unit alongside some men of arms or foot squires, and they could cause some serious damage on the charge. With that 50 meter radius means they can cover a few units at the same time. A useful addition to any of your armies, but ideal in an army going against real tough rosters of the elves, dwarves and chaos, which have their own particular elite units. The Lost Sons is a hero unit at 1855, but has 6 models in it, which is quite different for the Warhammer series. These Sons of Bretonnia have magical gifts, and as you can see, hit pretty damn hard in their own right. They have the access to the following spells: Fowl's Protection, Light of Battle, Harmonic Convergence, and Earthblood. This allows this strong unit to bring some good buffs to your army. Pretty much, you do not need a caster in your army. Encouraging everybody around them as well, They can be put into a second or third rank, protect a hero or legendary yard, and throw them into any holes in the front line or second. Like the previous units, they get the blessing of the AD, Grail Vitality and Knight's Duty. They can also be mounted on horses to make them more mobile, and they allow them to run over some of the elite cav in the game. With some extra abilities as well, Exorcism, giving the unit a debuff across the map of -8 to leadership against the enemy. Pure of Heart to give them a bit more magic casting chance, and Resistances, useful if caught out in a fight. Lastly, Honour is All, giving this unit a big combat damage buff as well as framing attacks, and if that's not enough, it increases the power reserves. So pressing this buff just as they go into a charge, whether it be mounted or on foot, will give them a huge damage buff. That's the last of the Bretonnia units. There's of course lots of tweaks to various units as well, but we shall now go on to the new Chaos unit. We start off to the changes of this roster with a campaign only unit, Chaos Cultists. This can only be recruited at the new Chaos Fortress mechanic, which will be gone over in more detail in my campaign video. This is a chaff unit, which is a pretty good damage dealer. It's on its own right, coming in with one shown here, which is Maces. This one has a nice infantry bonus, and even though lightly armoured, can hold the front line for a bit and cause some pretty high damage. There's also the Spear variant, which is more defense and is even better at holding the front line. Just to remember, even though it's got the spears, this does not have any anti-charge defense, so be a bit careful. They can also deal out a similar damage output as the previous mace unit. Both of these units have a special ability called Sacrifice, which bolsters any units near them in a huge range of 100 meters and give them a bonus to melee and leadership. So when you press this button, the unit will die, but as dying it will give out this buff to any surrounding units. And at that 100 meter range, that is quite substantial. But just remember, this does sacrifice the unit, so only use it in strategic places where you've got backup coming up behind them. To represent the 4 Chaos Gods, they have each got a new unit to use. One for Khorne, Tzeentch, Nurgle and Slaanesh, each one costing 1,550. So first up, well, we have a chosen Khorne Berserkers. A Destroyer. Given no thought to defense, it is a buzzsaw. They get in and they don't stop as they are unbreakable. They also sport the Chaotic Crusade, give them even more damage when they enter the battlefield. There is very little that can stand in their way. Just for added damage, they have Frenzy, and if that's not enough, they can corner buff, which makes them do insane damage but at a cost of their health, but not to individual units. With an anti-injury bonus of 25, you can put these on any elite unit and they will pretty much kill it in a short space of time. So when do you use them? And when are they best suited? Well, their armor is not the greatest, so I tend to bring them against the less armoured factions. Then use them as a battering ram in the front line after the first line has already started. Just remember, there's only 40 of them, so if cav or other monsters catch them, they will deal the damage out before they die, but they will go down quite quick because of their low defense. Keep them hidden in the front line and have a unit protecting them, protecting the rear, because they're quite fragile and expensive. So keep an eye on them at all times. They do rock some resistances, 10% physical and missile, and have a nice large magic resist of 25%. But we just don't have the numbers to take too much damage. I found them effective with 2 Marauder infantry, or even better with Chaos Warriors to soak up some of the damage, and yet these go to work and watch the blood flow. Remember, they cause fear and terror, so against leadership unit factions, this gives a great source for mounting units. Next up is the Sons of the Arseprague for a Nurgle Chaos God. So if you have a nice solid front line, how about a nice anchor point in the centre? This is a unit of the 4 Chaos Gods. This is the most defensive of them. A nice solid 45. Got regen and high armour, and a nice sweeping attack with their scythes. Have an expert charge defense as well. They're a great line troop, especially against horde armies, and I recommend to take one of these and flank them with Chaos Warriors and Marauders. The opposition will take a while to get through these tough units, because they support high physical and missile resistance at 15 and 20% respectively. And even though they're only 40 strong, they can clean up chaff units with ease. They also have an extra bonus. They are ability to spread plague, damaging nearby units and then create themselves some space. Worthy any army, but are slow, so make sure they are flanked and move together with their units. A very handy attack and forget unit. Just pop back to use the explore button and you don't have to worry too much about this unit. Slaanesh is next up with the Guardians of Dark Prince's Desires. Much like the Khorne Berserkers, these are another hard hitting units based on their high armor piercing values. For huge charge bonus that demands them to be the most aggressive of your armies. They have to charge straight at the enemy and cause maximum damage and roll through them. A high missile resistance of 50% and fire at 25%. They are made to charge straight down the throat of the enemy and can cause leadership fall in the units because their attacks use burnt, which knocks down the enemy's leadership down by 8. They also have the debuff, the Visions of Pressure. So as they charge, pop this and watch them tear through the front line. Add 2 Forsaken units next to them and they can break through the cheap front lines within moments. And they can also die horribly, but Chaos Gods will be happy either way. Good against pretty much all opposition. Use this unit as the point of an attack and aim at the highest armoured unit of the front line. As long as your second line is close behind to soak up the pressure, you can force this unit through and any Forsaken to attack the next line. The Arch units, representing the Chaos Gods, are the Zealots of Change for Tzeentch. This is a completely support unit. Not really meant to be a frontline fighter, they're made to be hidden in the second rank and need a real unit to protect them, or next to a hero or Yord. Stats wise pretty weak compared to the others. At Yorish armour, they hit hard, but not the greatest in attack or defence, only have 20 models. So why do you need them? Well, they do provide some magic to your front line. First, they can debuff the front line and cause damage with the Soul Eater Tzeentch. And you got a heal called the Unholy Pact with the Changer, a rare thing in a Chaos army, so use it wisely. You are by no means least the Sword of Change, which can summon a Chaos Spawn. These buffs certainly make them great for the grindy fight. Remember, all these new units cost 1,500 points, so picking the right one for your army is vital, and in the campaign this also locks them to your horde. A costly mistake if you bring the wrong type, so think about how you're going to set up your army. This unit encourages, so keep it nearby troops to keep everyone's leadership buffed, and this also means you can have a more mobile Yord with Korric and Archeon on a horse as possible choices. Lastly, we have a Bloodthirster, a hugely expensive at 2,907. In the campaign, this is a specific mechanic linked to the Chaos Fortress, so we will talk about that in more detail in that video. An absolute scary demon with huge stats across the board. Listed as a hero and can probably take many legendary Yords one-on-one. Huge AP at 350, this is a Wrecking Ball and has 50% resistance to magic as well, but no wards or any physical resistance. So tough as he is, this is a lot of cost for one unit, so don't really have any protection units with him at all times. Abilities wise, this demon has Chaotic Blessing, which is on most units of Chaos. Also, this demon costs Chaos Magic, so there is quite a large debuff to the recharge rate of the Winds of Magic. So bringing a heavy magic presence is likely not worth it if he's in this army. Blood Rage does give you resistances, but needs constant battle to make it viable. And when you are hit in stage 3 with constant health regen, this makes this unit vital to keep an eye on. Never let it stop hitting, and you have a killing machine like no other. If you're charging this unit in, press the Rage of the Blood God, giving you huge killing power on the charge. And if you do happen to have the regen procced, well, the battle is not going to last much longer. Lastly, we have the Axe of Purge. If this hero gets stuck in chaff, cast this to create space and go after a better target. And of course, we'll put some damage down as well. This unit is one of the best damage dealers in the game, so use it and get some blood for Khorne. So first, we're going to start off with a brand new unit for a Skaven. This is a legendary unit called the Black 13. This is based on a knight interior where Count Eshin yet a team of assassins to kill generals, nobles and anyone of importance. Hundreds died that night and left the area ripe for taking. And now this legendary unit can be yours for 1800 points. As you can see, it specialises in stalking its prey and unleashing a devastating attack. The lack of IP, which is only at 50, is compensated by the Reaping Blades, which removes 50 armour from any unit they hit. They are devastating and can cause huge damage if used correctly, but they are a bit flimsy, so hit and run tactics are the order of the day. Use their conspiracy bombs to get them into stalk, and they can get close and personal before an enemy knows anything. Just don't leave them there young. Ideally, attack the rear of a unit when they're already attacking the front line. Spot a vulnerable hero unit, and this unit can kill them within moments. 30 models versus 1 is a huge damage in each attack. Yep, the maths is pretty easy. Get in and score your way in classic Skaven fashion. Onto the DLC units now, and first up everyone's favourite minigun, the Ratling Gun team. As you can see, the main difference is their range damage, which has a huge increase, but they do cost more at 1150. The unit has been tweaked here and there, and there is a noticeable drop in armour, so you have to be a bit more careful with them. They do have an extra special ability from SFO, which allows them to overload the weapon, causing more damage, but the poor wat in question will get damaged. But with a plus 100 reload, this pretty much means that the weapon is going to pump out so much damage that you won't care. So only use this when you got a good field of fire, and because of the accuracy debuff, make sure they can't really miss. This, I presume, is a Skaven's happy place, causing destruction at the craziest of levels. Next up, we have the Jezzels. Again, higher price at 1150 points compared to the 900 for vanilla. This only had a few tweaks, but more damage, and again, less armour. They do now have a lower arc of fire due to their sniper ability, so placement is now even more crucial for this unit. You need a hill with a good line of sight to make the best of. Again, you can overcharge this weapon with Warp Overcharge. Increases its damage across the board, but making it slow to load, but truly devastating when it hits. So at the start of the fight, use this to get some extra damage on the units before they get close. Onto the Doomfrayers. Again, small tweaks across the board, but the notable increase in models by 2. Quicker as well. They also have the overcharge ability. This creates more damage across the board, but lowers their armour and of course damages them. So use this carefree on initial charge through units, and then they can get into the back lines to run amok. Now to have a look at some of the legendary lords, starting with Ikit Quor. Again, small tweaks across the board, generally improving him with a new damage on his Massal called Warpstone Scourge. This is permanent lowering of leadership and armour, so a really handy debuff to weaken the enemy before they get into the range of your main force. Because he is a bit better, he costs more at 2565, where in vanilla he only costs 2306. Finally, we have the mini Ikit, the Warlock Master. Surprisingly, he's a little weaker than the vanilla version, with reductions in armour, melee attack, but it's more expensive due to the balance of this mod for multiplayer battles, coming in at 2260, so about 250 more than your base game. Other than that, he's pretty much the same character. We can now move on to the Lizardmen faction, and first off we have a brand new unit, the Honour Guard of Hexeratl, a kick-ass halberd infantry of the toughest temple guard around. Only 12 models, this damage dealing unit is very hard hitting with 60 AP and a bonus of infantry of 10, so very scary against any unit. High defense and attack, this unit does work in battle, and as area attacks, strikes or chaff are not as big a deal for this unit to deal with. But still, don't get them too involved in too much of a chaff. Abilities wise, we have Sky Wardens, giving any Yord or hero damage distance to missiles. I'm not exactly sure how this works, but I presume they swipe the arrows out of the air with the big halberds. A handy knack to have, really. Anyway, this is a great bodyguard unit for any hero or legendary horde, so keep them close. Next ability is Spawning Vigour. Pretty much making the guard never get a vigour problem, as long as they keep fighting. Lastly, we have the Incantation of Hex Rattle, giving the hordes near them, or heroes, some buffs to the combat stats. So if you spot a hero or horde, send them in and then follow this up with this buff. Not much will be able to stop this 1-2 punch. Okay, we're on to the DLC units now, and let's see what SFO has done to these. First up, the Red Crested Skinks. As you can see, there is now extra 40 models. This is to fit the mod's tone. You get more cheap chaff units, that's Skinks for Lizardmen, or like for the Skaven, you would get 280 Skaven slaves in a unit compared to about 160 for Vanilla. They also have had a pretty large combat buff across the board, but removing their poison attacks. They also have a few resistances, to physical at 7%, missile at 15% and magic at 10%. Abilities wise, they have the Calm Presence. You will find this on all your Skinks. In the tabletop and in the ore, Skinks with a calming influence, and were used to suppress the primary urges of the Saurus, Croxigors and other beasts. Being a constant spell, these will stop Rampage immediately and give them great synergy with Saurus and the other beasts, making them much easier to control in your front line. Keep a Skink running with your more beastly units just to keep them in check. This means good placement of your Skinks in your armies can keep all your beastly units in the fight longer, and you'll be able to keep control of them because a Rampage would not be a problem. Salmon to Hunting Pack have had a substantial upgrade, but are also even more squishy than they are in Vanilla, so you have to keep a closer eye on this unit. Any anti-arge unit can melt them very quickly, so be extra careful of the placement, and having a backup Skink nearby would not hurt. This makes them a 950 unit now. Much like the Hunting Pack, the Ancient Salamander at 1250 is again a lot more scary and has nice range of bonuses as well, but with armor and melee defense slightly weaker, so again you have to be careful with this unit. Only choose favourable matchups, and remember, if they do Rampage, then the defense is reduced by 5, so always sensible to keep those Skinks nearby. With little changes to the Ripidactyls, we can move on to Tennyone. He is more expensive at 2,517 points, but has a bit more defense, but has a big drop of an armour, so be careful with AP units. Lastly, we can have a look at Yord Croak, who's much more expensive at 2,464. He has 0 defense, and the armour has been increased as well, but he does hit like a ton of Croxigors, so something will die, likely him, but he does have a 50% magic and missile resistance. He does have 2 extra abilities though. Power of the Old Ones, give him a constant buff to any other magic users, power recharge rate, and grants them an extra 4 extra power. Also, he has a Will Itzer, giving the map-wide debuff to stats, so you're getting a few extra abilities for that high cost, but if anything touches him in one-on-one combat, poor Croak, well, he's got a Croak. I apologise. Okay, that brings us to the end of this update. I hope you enjoyed the look at these units and some of the new ones, and I hope you will check out my campaign video as well. Thanks for watching, and I hope to see you in my next video.